understanding the nature of mortgage and the requirements by assisting a proper detailed evaluation would certainly require a financial evaluation to make things even much more authentic. Talking Point connects with Mr. Karl Wilkinson, who happens to be the Chief Executive of Access Financial Services. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Why has Access Financial Services chosen Sri Lanka, specifically Colombo, as the location for its operational head office for mortgage processing?
That's a really good question. Thank you for asking me that. It's quite a long story, but I'll try and shorten it as much as I can. So at Access Financial Services, since 2017, we've always had the vision of moving some of our mortgage processing abroad. Now, one of the reasons for doing that is that we can offer a better quality of service to our customers in the UK as well. So about 4 years ago, I started looking at different countries that I could potentially use to outsource, and it came that Sri Lanka was actually a really good country to use for a number of reasons. Now, one of the main reasons that I found was because the education of the people within Sri Lanka were very similar to the UK education system, so there was a lot of similarities there, and the quality of the people were actually very, very good. So to be honest, it's a very good country for me to look at. It's not too far from the UK, and I just enjoy the country as well, to be honest, so I absolutely love being in Sri Lanka myself.
What factors influenced the decision to establish a joint venture with WIS Group in Sri Lanka, and how does this partnership benefit Access Financial Services?
Thank you. So I've known WIS for quite a number of years. We've had a very good relationship since roughly 2016, 2017, and I've seen WIS grow very successfully over those years. We've maintained contact over that period of time, and the benefits of partnering with WIS is that I think that WIS will really help me because of their local knowledge, because of the people that they know within Colombo. So there's a lot of synergy between Access and WIS. I've seen the quality of the employees that they bring on board for their business, and I've seen how well they look after and train their employees. So for me, it was a perfect fit. It was a perfect fit for me to help Access grow and to work together with WIS, and between us we can actually have a very successful strategy for growth over the coming years.
Could you elaborate on the tax advantages offered by the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Act and how they influence the decision to incorporate there?
The most important thing for Access is quality, and the most important thing for Access is actually giving the best quality of service to customers in the UK. Now, with this Act coming into play, it means that it will benefit me because there's tax advantages to recruiting people in Sri Lanka. So employees can be paid in pounds sterling, and then there's less tax for that employee to pay, which means that from a purely selfish perspective, it means that I can actually afford to pay a better quality of employee who will actually enjoy the benefits of being paid in pounds sterling and with less tax to pay, so they can have a better quality of life, which in turn means that they will have a greater enjoyment of working in Access, which means that will be then reflected upon how they communicate with the customers within the UK, which again makes it full circle because it helps Access grow, and the more that Access grows, the more people that I could actually employ in Colombo and Sri Lanka as well. So it's a positively growing circle, and so what's happening in Sri Lanka at the moment is actually really beneficial to Access and my plans for the future.
What challenges or opportunities do you foresee in setting up and managing operations in Sri Lanka compared to the UK?
Well, the obvious challenge for me is clearly distance, right? So recruiting in the UK, you can interview quite quickly, you can bring somebody on board and you can start them relatively quickly. Obviously there's a distance issue when we're trying to recruit in Sri Lanka. Now what we've learned since COVID within Access is that we've actually managed to recruit our current UK head office staff from all over the UK. So we've spent the last 3 years, 4 years developing, training, recruiting and actually onboarding our head office staff purely remotely. So Access in the UK at the moment is a purely remote business. So we've learnt over the years how to perfect doing things remotely, from the training to the meetings to everything. So in working with WIS, what we've done is we've learnt to replicate that within Sri Lanka so that we can actually mimic what we're doing, we can move the training materials across, and we can work closely with WIS to help to recruit and onboard and bring in some really good quality employees.
How will the projected growth in mortgage approvals impact the operations and staffing of Access Financial Services in Sri Lanka over the next few years?
So the UK economy is getting better at the moment. So mortgage approvals, even 12 months ago, was quite slow. We've seen a big improvement. And in the recent 6 months, there's also been some new lenders coming into the market as well. So there's a few initiatives that Access is actually working on at the moment. A lot of it is confidential, so I can't say too much. But we anticipate that over the next 12 months, we would need in the region of about 150 brand new employees in Colombo. So we are looking at some massive growth for Access, and there's a lot of initiatives happening in the UK at the moment to help us to actually grow and get to the numbers that we need to. So the operations within Sri Lanka is actually vital for the successful growth.
How does Access Financial Services plan to recruit and train the necessary staff in Sri Lanka to meet the anticipated volume of mortgage cases efficiently?
So that's a really good question. One of the reasons why we had a strategic partnership with WIS is for their help and aid in the training and the recruitment of the people that we would need for Access Financial Services. So we have some key people in the UK. We have key heads of compliance for FCA regulation, and we have a lot of experienced trainers within the UK as well. So one of the strategies is to bring over some of these people on a periodic basis and spend some time with the new team in Sri Lanka, and to spend a lot of time training these people. We want to try and get some of these people in Sri Lanka as well to the right qualification. So it will help greatly if we can get to CMAP qualification as well for some of the underwriters and the people within Sri Lanka. So we can do that with the trainers that we have in the UK. And there's also the Pearson centres as well in Sri Lanka, so we can actually get a lot of the new employees qualified up to that CMAP qualification, which I think will help us a lot, and it will be good for Sri Lanka as well.
What role does technology play in supporting the mortgage processing operations in Sri Lanka, and how will Access Financial Services ensure seamless integration with the UK operations?
So technology, in all fairness, is the future of financial services, I believe. A lot has happened over the last 12 months. AI has actually played a very important part in anything technology related. Now, about 18 months ago, Access Financial Services formed a technology company as well called Access Technology Solutions. So we've been developing some quite proprietary software that will be unique to the market once there's an official launch, which will be next year. So maybe I could come back and talk about that next year.
Certainly.
So the tech is something that will actually connect not just Sri Lanka and the UK, but hopefully the whole world. So there's been a vision of access for the past 5 or 6 years, and the technology is now about 12 months away from being developed. So that's the big bit of technology. Now, what we also have is something called a CRM. So the CRM is about to be launched in the next month to 6 weeks, and the CRM will also help to connect our customers with our UK team and with our Sri Lanka team. So everything should hopefully be seamless.
What are the key milestones or objectives that Access Financial Services aims to achieve through this joint venture in Sri Lanka?
So growth is key. We've had plans to grow Access over the next 5 years. Our aim is to float. We have fixed projections to take us up to the end of 2025, and to get to the end of 2025, we've targeted 150 new employees in Sri Lanka. Now, the vision from 2025 onwards is all based around the brand new tech that's coming to the market. So a worst case scenario would be potentially 250 to 300, but a best case scenario would be a lot more than that. So there's a lot happening within the Access space. There's a lot that we're working on with WIS as well. So it is really, really exciting times, really exciting times.
Access Financial Services aims to broaden their business perspectives with a strategic plan indeed. We were in conversation with Mr. Karl Wilkinson, who happens to be the Chief Executive of Access Financial Services. Thank you so much for connecting.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure is ours.
Thank you.